A Study in Scarlet, 1887. Episode 1. The First Meeting. Welcome, Detective. You're about to embark on an extraordinary journey through the greatest mysteries of Victorian London. But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever met someone who could read your entire life story just by looking at you? Well, today you're going to witness exactly that. It's 1881, and you've just returned from Afghanistan as a wounded army doctor, much like Dr. John Watson. You're looking for affordable lodging in London when a mutual friend mentions someone else seeking a roommate. What would you think about sharing rooms with a complete stranger? Would you be curious or cautious? Let's follow Dr. Watson to St. Bartholomew's Hospital, where he's about to meet the most remarkable man in London. In the chemistry laboratory, we find a tall, lean fellow with sharp, penetrating eyes, completely absorbed in his experiment. "Dr. Watson, I presume?" says the stranger, extending his hand. "How do you do? You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive." Now, Detective, stop and think. How could this man possibly know Watson had been in Afghanistan? What clues might give it away? Take a moment to observe Watson yourself. What do you notice? This extraordinary individual is Sherlock Holmes, and his deduction is breathtakingly simple yet brilliant. Watson's appearance, his medical knowledge, his military bearing, and most tellingly, his tan, the particular shade that comes from the Afghan sun, not the British climate. "I have rooms in Baker Street," Holmes continues, "which would suit us both. I hope you don't mind the smell of strong tobacco and occasional chemical experiments." What's your first impression of Holmes? Does he seem like ideal roommate material? Watson notices something peculiar. Holmes appears to have calloused fingertips from handling test tubes, and there's something almost feverish in his intellectual energy. They visit 221B Baker Street together. Mrs. Hudson, the landlady, shows them comfortable rooms with a shared sitting room overlooking the busy street. The rent is reasonable when split between two. But here's where it gets interesting, Detective. As they settle in, Watson begins observing his new flatmate. Holmes receives strange visitors at odd hours. He plays violin at midnight. He conducts bizarre experiments that fill the rooms with acrid smoke. "What do you think I am?" Holmes asks Watson one morning, catching him staring. Watson guesses. "A doctor? A lawyer? Perhaps a retired army officer?" Holmes laughs. "I'm a consulting detective, the only one in the world. I invented the job because I saw it was needed. Now, what would you make of someone who claims to have invented an entirely new profession? Would you believe them or think them slightly mad?" Holmes explains his method. From a drop of water, a logician could infer the possibility of an Atlantic or a Niagara. Most people see but do not observe. I've trained myself to notice what others miss. As Watson settles into this strange new life, he begins keeping notes about his peculiar flatmate. Holmes knows nothing about literature, philosophy, or astronomy, yet possesses encyclopedic knowledge of crime, tobacco ash varieties, and human anatomy. "You see," Holmes tells Watson, "I consider a man's brain like a little empty attic. You must stock it with only the furniture that helps your work. Everything else is just clutter. Do you agree with this philosophy, Detective? Is it better to specialize completely or maintain broad knowledge?" Days pass peacefully until one February morning when Inspector Gregson of Scotland Yard arrives with urgent news. There's been a peculiar murder in South London, a case so bizarre that the Yard is completely baffled. Holmes's eyes light up with an almost childlike excitement. "The game is afoot, Watson. Would you care to join me?" And so, Detective, your real adventure begins. What do you expect to find at this crime scene? What kind of murder could possibly baffle Scotland Yard so completely? Next episode, we'll journey to Lauriston Gardens and encounter our first real mystery together.